Let's go. You ready?
Yeah,
we on?
Yep.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Welcome everybody to the Safina Society Nothing But Facts live stream on an absolutely, utterly gorgeous Thursday. There's never been a better day in the whole year of 2024. Right? Would you agree, guys? It's one of the best days that we've had in terms of weather, and you feel like you need to be out and about. You need to get out of work early. And we did have a little bit of a mix-up, I would say. Are we even on, by the way?
Yeah.
You sure? You see it? Because I'm on YouTube here, and I'm not on. Oh, we are on. Here we go. Okay, good. So here we go. Let's start today with Adnan. Yes. You said something pretty clever. Read that again. All the debates surrounding Ramadan.
Oh yeah. Let me read that from Sheikh Harun.
Read it again from Harun Saleh.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a mix-up, and that's why we're on late today. But here we are.
You want to read it?
Yeah, go.
The cycle of popular Ramadan questions. 29th of Sha'ban, and this is from the dates of 29th of Sha'ban until the second day of Ramadan, is moon fighting questions.
So moon fighting, first day is moon sighting, moon fighting. Okay. Next.
From the third day of Ramadan to the 10th day is a debate on how many number of raka'at in Taraweeh. And then
Taraweeh questions. Next.
The 11th to 20th day is various questions on what breaks the fast.
What breaks my fast?
And in the last 10 days is zakat questions. When is Laylatul Qadr? Zakat-ul-Fitr questions.
Yep, zakat. Yep.
And then the last day of Ramadan and the first day of Eid is moon fighting.
Back to moon fighting again. So I'll tell you why this happens is because Ramadan always brings out new people, right? Every year, someone who's been latent, or, latent is the word, right? Someone who's like, in Islam just comes to Jummah. For some reason, something happened. This year, he woke up. This year, he's coming to the masjid. Something hit, right? And that person is now awake. Now, for the first time, they're thinking about these things that were just like in the back of their mind, or they didn't pay attention to it. Now, for the first time, they're thinking about this. And here's the thing. The deen has nothing to do with your level in secular knowledge. A person could be a physician, and this could be their state, right? They could be someone who didn't pay attention for years, right? And now this is the first year they're paying attention. It could be a IT guy, could be a kid, could be an adult, whatever it is. And that's why you end up with the same exact thing every time, because new people are making tawbah and pay attention for the first time. That's what it is. You're paying attention for the first time. And that's ultimately what it is. And then they come in, though, and because these are matters of difference, they get really excited about it. Or they get really hyped up about it, and maybe even overly aggressive about their opinion. So that's the idea. All right, Zabe, are we ready?
Zabe, you know how to do it?
Let me read you this testimonial that we got. Amazing. 2 guys are working on a site, construction. My friend became Muslim and has been going to La Cocina, and this week took me with him. He said, been going to this Muslim soup kitchen in New Brunswick. Okay, and this week he took me with him. I was so impressed with everything. They gave me so much good hot food for free, as much as I wanted to eat, and gave me more to take home with me. And they also gave me clothes, so I got a new pair of pants and a new shirt. Everyone was so nice and welcome. I was really blown away. Says, now where did this meeting happen? This is the key. These 2 guys bumped into each other on a job in Pennsylvania. You know, people who work different gigs? They're just chit-chatting. Oh, where are you from? Oh, from New Brunswick. Oh, I was in New Brunswick, and they gave me this food, right? And I came to this Muslim soup kitchen and all that. So that's how word spreads slowly but surely. When Islam spreads to people, it spreads through very common, simple, basic decencies. That's the truth of how Islam spreads, not through some big philosophical idea. And these little things, they touch the heart of regular people. But regular people are the society. The elites are not the society. They may be the leaders, but they are not the reflection of the society. They're not the future either. The future leaders always come from regular people. Future leaders tend not always to come from the kids of other leaders, right? So that's how Islam, when it enters an area, enters like water, very slowly, goes to the bottom, right? But you can't get it out. You'll never get it out. Like if you ever had a flood in your house or a leak, the water leaks in a little bit, you're not drying the guts of the house, like the bottom of the house. That water is there for good, right? You're not drying that out. It's there for good. And that kind of testimonial to me is extremely important. And it's really a testimonial of, that's the kind of work we want to do here. I can almost guarantee you, if we keep this up with La Cocina, the soup kitchen, and we make it by 2030 to 7 meals a day, which is probably we're going to jump to 3 meals a day and then to 7. Because that's full-time hires right there.
That's possible.
Yeah. That's like 1 part-time hire to jump to 3. And then that's a full-time in addition to the part-time hire, right? It's jump to 7. I think that's where we're headed. And we're headed there by the endowment. Are we ready to burn this video up?
Yeah.
Let's go. Show everyone the video. Bismillah.
Remember back in November of 2021, I was standing in this very spot, but in front of a very different looking building. This is the building that we acquired. And alhamdulillah, phase 1, as we said, was going to be to revamp the entire outside. And that's exactly what we did. Let's go take a look. Pretty similar to the rendition. We changed the roofing. We put some Spanish style roofing and we put these beautiful doors in. And the one is for the tenants, one is to enter the soup kitchen, and one is to exit the soup kitchen. As I said last time, our goal by 2030 is to have a dinner 7 days a week, rain or shine, Eid, 4th of July, whatever it is, 7 days a week there'll be a dinner. We're now at 1 day a week. We've been consistent on that for about 1.5 years now. Every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, everyone knows, and we recently topped for the first time 100 attendees. So 100 people had a free dinner, courtesy of the community and the volunteers and everybody. All this open space, as soon as we put down a few of these pavers, we couldn't resist paving the whole thing. You'll notice maybe in the first video, I said that we're going to pave part of it and make the rest of it driveway space. But when we saw how pretty it looked with the pavers, we just paved the whole space. And it turned out to be a great decision because we have barbecues here, sometimes 100 people, sometimes over that. Phase 2 is to establish a waqf on the inside, which involves gutting the inside and being able to have over 15 tenants. By doing that, the whole thing will be self-sustaining. In this area, space right here, we use a small part of it and we record nothing but facts from upstairs, but the rest of it, we want to use it as a waqf that is apartments for tenants that will supply, and fund the rest of our activity. This operation cannot happen without community support. So, Jazakumullahu khairan. Please help us with this Launch Good campaign. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
With hope in our eyes, we search through the skies, waiting for our old friend. With loved ones nearby and our spirits high, a blessed time we'll spend. Both love and in fear, to Allah we draw near, hands raised to the sky. Allah, please forgive us and guide us to paradise. Ramadan is here, Allah's mercy is near. Time to give, time to share, time to show we care, 'cause Ramadan is here. All day and all night, noble words will recite, healing our hearts with Quran, revealed on the night of power, a guide for this world till the end. Like past nations have done, we'll fast for the one creator, from him shines all light. Oh Allah, please forgive us and guide.
Does that scan work digitally? All right, click the keep it on that scan site, on that scan page. So here you have it, folks. This is our goal. This is how we're going to do our dawah. I believe by 40, give it 40 years, half the Islam will seep into every household here just by osmosis. Just by osmosis. Just by every single day. Every single evening. Just think about that. 100 people eating in this backyard here. And this year, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we're breaking down the wall and we're expanding the interior so that probably 60, 70 people could fit in inside. Hopefully. You need to move my car? All right, so that's where we're headed, and we need your support. We're at basically, what, $780 or something out of what we're trying to do here is fix up the basement, and when we fix up the basement, that'll be a rental income for us, right? And it'll support the day-to-day, monthly activities of the soup kitchen and the other stuff that we do here. So that's the key here, and you could check it out at launchgood.com/Safina Society. Let's go to that and see how it's doing. Launchgood.com/Safina Society. We are at 1,636. So if we get it, I'm very reasonable with everybody, right? Let's just get it to 1,700 today. How easy is that? Let's get it to 1,700, right? I don't like to burden anyone. Just a cup of coffee here, a cup of coffee there. That's it. That's how, we want to do it. Something very simple. We'll check it every few minutes. Today, what's that?
We got some pictures.
Pictures?
Statistics.
Click. Fade and click. Yes, go. Bismillah. Oh, look at that. Read that to us. Zayd, put your mic on and read it. Is your mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, good.
Isn't that so? So pretty much, as you can see, it's developed over time graciously through the video, and you can see how messed up it looked and
it was
down and
depressing, man.
yeah, and
I wouldn't eat here.
subhanAllah, look at
I wouldn't even go to the bathroom there.
yeah, it's come very far, mashallah,
Yeah.
and there's still much more to go for the future in terms of renovation and bringing people together, inshallah. And yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we read about. This this guy's he entered, the friend entered Islam, and this guy basically, he's working with this guy, and this guy's he tells him about it. That's slowly how word spreads. Next. Ooh, what's that?
Yeah, so pretty much since 2021, 8,500 meals.
Wow, that's insane.
Just from this small little operation, this many meals.
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah.
And what does that say there?
And these are kind of the progress throughout the years. As you can see, it went from 500 to 2,000, 3,000, to all the way up to 4,000.
Wow, look at that. So in 2021, it was 500 plus. 2022, we broke the 3,000 plane. 2023, we broke the 4,000 plane, and we're projected to pass the 5,000 plane meals because our average keeps increasing. And I remember a guy who said to me that, he said, how's the soup kitchen going? I want to be a big donor and everything. I said, yeah, you donate with us. And he said that, how was the first meal? The very first one we did, it was in January, February. It was cold. It was me and Ryan and I don't know who else. Maybe like one other person. And we literally had to go off on the street and tell people we have a soup kitchen. Come and eat here, right? And they're like, oh, no, I don't get to go in there and get jumped, right? The lighting, there was no lighting on the outside. It was dark, right? It was a very shady operation in the beginning. But we got 9 people to come into the building and take a meal and leave. And a bunch of other people that we actually ran to give them the food. We had to get rid of the food. 9 people. So that person said to me, man, that's just a disappointment, man. I thought this was going to be... I'm like, what do you think is going to happen on the day one? Right? It's like, I'm pregnant. Oh, I don't feel he's kicking. Maybe he's not kicking. That's not how it works. It works so slowly and organically. But the key is like a wird. In Islam, we believe in the system of what the Prophet, peace be upon him, say, what is consistent, even if it's little, right? Just consistently, pecking away, and then he grows and grows and grows and grows, and then we have to credit our leaders, really. Islam, Afreen, Ali, Eddie, these are the guys who run it every single day, and then there's some sisters too from the behind the scenes, okay, that should be mentioned. Okay, Sister Sadia.
Mention too are the people who cook.
The chefs are so important. They cook from their homes and they drop it off here, or we pick it up. They cook them in their homes every week.
How every week for like 2 years now?
Yeah.
Every week there's fresh
food. That's a community.
Homemade food. Yeah.
That's a sign of community. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, he came and he transformed the regular people of a community. He didn't come with some highfalutin ideas for some highly skilled people. So who's putting this together? The regular community members, right? Maybe let's say there are 10 or 20 consistent people who are buying the salad, buying the chicken, buying the pasta, buying the rice, and cooking it in big pots, and then pouring it out into these foil trays, and either driving it over or we go pick it up. And I think only very rarely, we didn't have, like maybe once or twice a year, we didn't have cooks, we have to buy food. That very rarely happened, right? So Sister Aziza is a big helper. Every week she's here. She doesn't miss a week. Shua with the clothing. She organizes the clothes every week. This consistency is what's going to, inshallah, be on our scales on the Day of Judgment. Okay, all these people, all right, who are doing this work. All right. All right, let's talk about zakat. Brother Aki says, are volunteers all Muslim? Yeah, the volunteers and the leadership is all Muslim, because we remember it is a dawah operation. So the people who will rise up in this rank are people who not only can they contribute to a soup kitchen, if asked, they can speak about Islam. And they could be examples of how Islam is practiced. We're not a secular soup kitchen. I've said this so many times. We're not a secular soup kitchen. This is a Muslim soup kitchen. Now, we don't go around giving dawah like, here's a sandwich, here's a pamphlet. I don't believe in that style. Let it come by osmosis. Let them see what a Muslim looks like. Let them see over years how Muslims behave. That's a proof. It's not going to need a discussion after that. But you meet a Muslim once, yeah, he could have been having a good day, right? He couldn't have a bad day. But go to a Muslim, go live with some of them. I feel like they sort of were part of their community now. Right? Especially that little boy. Where is he? Yeah. Where's Kaler? I've seen him. I saw him yesterday. He ran up to me, gave me a big hug, and said it's been a long time. Maybe he moved away and he's just visiting or something.
He never lived here.
Oh, he never lived here.
His cousins or something.
Oh, okay. So there's a little boy who lives here. He's took a Shahada too.
Really?
Yeah. Because his parents aren't Muslim, so for him he's not mukallaf in the first place. He's like 11 years old. Not even that, 9 years old. But and a child in Islam doesn't take a Shahada. If he's adopted, he just starts practicing Islam with those people, because he's not mukallaf, right? But nonetheless, he said, I want to be a Muslim, and he became Muslim.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And when he's around us, he prays and stuff. So probably in the back of his mind, he knows he's a Muslim, right? Because he's just a kid. He's like 9 years old. Yeah.
You said a certain age they don't take their Shahada.
Children under puberty, they don't need to take Shahada because they're not addressed by the command of Allah is not to children yet. So when a child is adopted by Muslims, he just starts praying, fasting with them, or praying and making wudu with them, and just being a Muslim. He doesn't have to intentionally take a Shahada, because the khitab of the Sharia is not for children. It's for people who have passed bulugh. Khitab means like the address of God. Allah's speech, Allah's command is meant for adults of sound mind, right? And past puberty, those two conditions. So a child or someone who is not of sound mind, they don't have to take the Shahada. They don't have to do any of these things. Now, it's good for a child to do it to get used to it, but he's not responsible for it. So a boy like that just hanging out with us, and he says, I want to be like you, I want to be Muslim, and he prays with us. When he sees us pray now, he just lines up. He doesn't ask questions.
That's cool.
He doesn't ask questions and doesn't even make wudu. Just lines up. He just lines up. And he comes to our Eid parties. He'll be everywhere. Yeah. Ahmed Ali. Ali? Yeah, I was teaching him Arabic at one point. So it's Ramadan now. When we have our last 10 nights and stuff, he used to come to those things and like to attend those things. All right, so let's talk about zakah and take those questions real quick. Brother was asking, does this kid's parents know? I don't know if they know he became Muslim, but they know. They don't speak English, but he's raised by his grandma, right? His grandma is like, as long as he's safe, he can go with you. So we don't take the kid without his permission, of course. So he comes to the Eid parties, comes to the masjid.
And I saw him yesterday. I didn't even know about any of this Muslim stuff. But I saw him and I was making fun of him because his tooth was missing.
Yeah.
And his mom's like laughing along. So they're cool.
They're fine with it. Yeah. Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think that. I think again, the generosity of Muslims is the key and the secret. And when you see that over time, why I say over time, because you don't see it from others. You don't see it from other communities. But you consistently see it from Muslims. This is going to say something. It says something theological too. These people are not afraid of rizq. They're not afraid of food coming and going, money coming and going. Right? And that is the truth of our aqeedah. La nas'aluka rizqa, Allah says. I'm not asking you for rizq. Don't worry about rizq. Right? Money comes and goes. Food comes and goes. Right? That's our attitude towards food and money. Especially food. Okay? So, when this place has 100 people in it, 7 days a week, I can guarantee you don't have to do dawah. The dawah will come right to you. That is the dawah. And then we stop for prayer. No questions asked. I don't care what happens. We break up the Jamaat into two. The workers, right? First half work, we're not going to do Salatul Khawf, right? First group prays, next Iqamah, next group prays. Out and there, we're not hiding. No more of this going to the back of the closet, right? Hide, pray like you're a criminal. No, right there and that, right then and there. So it's really important, and that's the dawah, and that's what really we gotta push this. This is why we're here. This is why we're here. And so we're renovating the basement. That basement can produce for us 3, 4, 5K, depending on how many tenants, a month. Imagine that. We should really be opening up soon a second dinner, right? Second dinner. And it takes that full-time workers, right? Okay.
And there's more from the community too about cooking and stuff.
What's that?
The part of getting more chefs too.
Yeah. Chefs is the most important thing. Eventually, that needs to be a paid job.
Theoretically, soup kitchens cook in the kitchen.
I would want it to be a paid job, and I want them to cook in the kitchen. That's what I want. We have a soup kitchen. We have a full oven, and a stove that can easily cook for 100 people, right? 100 people sounds a lot, but it's actually not. If you have 2 hours to cook, it's not a lot. So that's what I want. All right, zakah speaketh. Can you get me Risalat ibn Abi Zayd from right there? Can we ask questions about fasting and ibadah? Yes. It's open QA for a few minutes because we're having a short stream here, because funny situation is I get to the stream, I get to the studio, I'm sitting outside, no one's here. I finally come up an hour late, I'm like, I guess we're not doing this. And Zabe's sitting right there. Since the driveway was empty, right? So Zabe, you can park in the driveway. Yes. Why did you park on the street anyway? What made you do this behavior? And I'm like, where is everybody today?
I was passing by and I saw like some
easy spot.
No, I saw some cars not pulling in. I saw you.
Yeah.
So, like you're with some people, so that maybe people are gonna come. I set up like an hour early.
Khair. All right, today let's take questions on zakah. On the question of local or global moon sighting, Ryan brought up the great point, is that the Muslim cannot be mukallaf, cannot be held responsible for finding out about moons outside of his land. Yes, now it may be easy because we have phones, but the Sharia doesn't come for a Sharia when you have phones and a Sharia when you don't have phones, right? So the Sharia never made Muslims legally responsible for sightings that happen in another town. Now, the question now comes, when a reliable transmission comes to you, are you responsible for that? I think the answer would be yes. If a why is that? There's a hadith on that. In the time of Sayyidina Uthman, the Syrians came down to Medina, or as the Medinians went up to Syria for trade in the middle of the month of Ramadan. Said, what day are fasting you? We said, we're on our 16th day or something like that. No. They're like, no. We saw the moon, 17th day. This is the 17th day. And they observed the 17th day. So that's why I'm thinking that that's probably what the fuqaha will say. We can ask about it. Okay. Now, Zakat-ul-Aien. It's called Zakat-ul-Aien. Read me that fact zone question, please. Zakat-ul-Aien is zakat on your wealth.
Sheikh, one question coming to mind after watching your soup kitchen video, that the video contains women with not fully covered, so we have to lower our gaze from it?
Technically. If you can even see them. It was so far away from me, so I didn't even see it. But Zakat-ul-Aien is zakat on your currency, right? Your wealth, your savings. Keep in mind, most Muslims pay zakat on their wealth in Ramadan because it's so easy to remember to do it, and the reward is greater. In Ramadan, remember, there are two zakats. There's that zakah if you choose to pay it at that time, and there's zakatul fitr, which is $10 on every person that has their qut yawm, their sustenance for one day. Qut, sustenance. Yawm, day. You have sustenance for a day? Meaning, do you fear for your food and shelter and drinking for one day? Today? No, I don't. Right? None of us do. Okay? So we owe it. And that zakah goes to the people who are very uncertain about having any wealth, any food. Okay? It goes to them. And it's best to go to them in the form of the staple foods of the people. Rice, honey, things like that. Okay? Now, Zakat-ul-Aien, we're talking here about the zakah on your wealth. And the zakah on your wealth is once you pass a certain nisab. And the nisab of the word nisab, you should know, refers to the standard, or what's a better translation for nisab? The limit. If your wealth surpasses a certain amount, you owe zakah.
We have the numbers.
Speaketh.
Ahmed Ali on his research, because we looked it up on Google and it said way different numbers. Because then when you took the amount of grams of whatever 200 dirham, right, of silver and 20 dinars of gold, if you translate that into money now, silver is $330 and gold it's $4,159.
Repeat it.
$330 of silver and $4,159 for gold. But if you look it up online, it says 6,000 for gold and like 700 for silver. But if you do the math of it, yeah.
So if you use the nisab of silver, we have to give an answer to everybody. Is what's preferable as a nisab, gold or silver?
What I learned is you could choose.
You could choose.
That's what I learned.
You could choose. Okay. Shafi Fiq say you could choose. So the nisab, I believe the Maliki used the nisab of gold, but I have to double check. Let's see if it doesn't mention it here.
Is it just like you have to pay it within, it's the yearly period, so like if I paid my Zakat on March 1st, I have to pay it the next March 1st.
No, okay, so let's talk about that. So first word is nisab. You got to pass the nisab. Right. The limit. Let's say what he said here, $4,000. Okay? Under $4,000, you probably need zakah. If that's all you have in your savings account, you probably need zakah. If you're not need zakah, then you're still not paying zakah. So nisab is the first word that you got to know in Arabic. Nisab, the limit. The next word you got to know is the word hawl. Hawl. The word hawl is a year. hawl. And a hawl is a lunar year. Keep in mind. Sharia related matters always operate by the lunar year. So we fast by the lunar year, we'll make hajj by the lunar year, pay zakat by the lunar year. Okay? The lunar calendar. Islamic calendar, essentially. And so you have to have that amount of money, the nisab, sitting there doing nothing for a hawl. And when we say sitting there doing nothing, it means that base minimum amount. So let's say I have in my account right now $10,000. And in this Ramadan 19th, I have $10,000. And I pay I made my zakat obligatory upon myself on Ramadan 20. That's the day I set for myself. Last Ramadan 20, I had in the account $7,000. So I increased. However, that increase also came with a little blip. I went down to $3,000 in the middle of the year. So in that case, what have I had from last Ramadan to this Ramadan? 3,000. Okay? I owe on 3,000. You owe on the bottom, lowest common denominator that you've had in your bank account sitting there doing nothing for one lunar year. Remember, the purpose of zakat is to keep your money moving. Okay? So because I went and I invested or I spent $4,000, it's not zakatable on me anymore. Okay, so that's what I do. Then what do? I calculate this month's debts that I owe. This month that we're in right now, I owe a mortgage payment, I owe a car payment, I owe a tuition payment, I owe my friend, I'm paying back a debt from him, X amount of dollars. I owe this. I subtract that. So let's say my zakat is $7,000 zakatable money. What do? That's the zakatable amount. Divide by 40. That's what I owe. Okay? That the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, 1/4 of a tenth. So it can divide by 40. Okay? That's what I owe on that amount of money. So let's say that amount turns out to be, who knows, let's say, I don't know, $500. I owe zakat of $500. And what are my debts? I owe debts of $400. My monthly debts that I owe are $400. So how much in the end, what do I owe? Huh?
You said 4,600.
Whatever is the remainder, yeah. So I take the zakatable amount, subtract from that all my debts, put a line there, put 40. That is the zakat equation. Zakatable amount, okay, over 40 minus debts. Wait a second. Yeah, that's correct. Zakatable amount minus debts over 40. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so that, why do you divide by 40? Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, say from your zakat is 1/4 of a tenth. The zakatable amount, the amount of zakat is 1/4 of a tenth. The zakatable amount is all of the money that I've had sitting there for one lunar year doing nothing. Okay? That is greater than the nisab, which we said is $4,000. So we divide that by 40 because that's the amount I'm going to give away. I'm not going to give away my whole savings, right? I'm going to give away only 1/40. Yeah.
So you put the zakat money in the savings?
The zakat is your savings account. So your monthly account you is the amount of money you have every month. You always go down to zero by the end of the month, right? Or you're scraping at the bottom of that. That's your monthly that you spend, right? So there's no zakat on that. The zakat is only on money that you have in savings, right? This is assuming that people separate between their daily checking account and their savings account, okay? So our daily expenditures, it comes from an account that pretty much always goes under the nisab. So let's say a household goes, let's say a big family, there's sometimes 6 kids or something, or 6 people in the household, their monthly budget is on $12,000, right? $12,000. $12,000 comes in. By the end of the month, they're hovering around $200 left, right? A single guy, his budget may be $4,000. His money comes in, okay? He may take $100 putting in the savings account. but he has $4,000. He knows from this $4,000, my gas, my rent, my food, my regular spending, a shirt or a turtleneck or something like that, or a night out with to dinner or something like that. By the end of the month, he's going to have like 50, 60 bucks left in his bank account. Then he stops spending until he gets paid again. That account is always hitting zero. No zakat on that. The zakat is on your savings. Okay? Your savings account. Now, here's another question for you. What about I have stocks in a company? How do I treat that? So stocks is treated a little bit differently. Stocks depends on how you use your stock. So if I have a stock that I plan to sit on and wait till it grows, then sell it. Okay, that's one way. The other way is that stocks to me is like an item. I buy it and sell it all day. Like I'm going to buy it, I'm going to sell it tomorrow. I'm going to sell it in 3 days. I have no plan to sit on this thing. He's buying stocks every day, right? And he's monitoring the news and he's selling. Okay? So there's two different methods. The first approach is the stock is inventory. We call that person a mudir. A mudir is anybody, whether it's stock, whether it's phones, whether it's books, whether it's furniture, who buys stuff and wants to sell it right away. A mudir, a 7-Eleven, all of the shops that we go to, supermarkets, all these guys. These are called mudirs. Okay? We're now talking about zakat, not on savings anymore. We're talking about zakat on trade items. Every day I get some, I sell it right away. You're a mudir. Let's talk about his zakat. The zakat of the mudir, the one who's buying and selling right away, is he picks a date on the lunar calendar, let's say Ramadan 20th. He picks a date on, he takes inventory of everything he has in the store at this moment in time. On this day, what do I have in the shop? What do I have in the store? What do I have in my stock of stocks? Even if you sell homes, if you're a guy who buys up homes all the time and sells them, then the home is your item, your inventory. To take inventory, calculate all that, subtract from that all your debts. Of course, the bigger the item, the bigger the debt. If you're selling cars, clearly you have a big debt on the land, on the store, on the staff, right? If you're only a guy who's got a little cell phone kiosk, you probably have less debt, right? But point is, take the whole inventory, subtract all your debts, divide by 40, and pay zakat on that. So if I got a 7-Eleven, what do? I go in there on the day I owe zakat, and I say to my workers, listen, this week I need inventory on what's on the shelf right now at this moment. Okay? And they go and say, all right, we got all these Cheetos, we got all these slushies, we got coffee, they got to get an inventory. Then they could say, well, boss, there's so many little things. There's peanuts. There's so many little nicky-nacky things here. He said, all right, overestimate. Okay? Because let's say the guy's got a 5 and below store. These little junk stores? And these guys got little nicky-nacky trinket thingies all over the store. They don't even know what they have. But one of the secrets of zakah is it forces you to know what you own and the value of what you own. It forces you. So you have to do it. So they have to go in and they can estimate. So they could say, all right, wooden spoons, 99 cents a pop. How many wooden spoons here? 5, 10, 15, 20. Looks like definitely not more than 50. Definitely more than 40, less than 50. All right, let's say 50. 50 wooden spoons at $1 each, $50. So you can overestimate when the calculation becomes like impossible, because Islam is a practical religion,
Is it
right?
the price that you're selling it for, or how much you paid for it?
No, what it's worth.
What
What it's
it's worth.
worth. Yeah.
Okay.
What its what its value is, right? Not what you bought it for. The zakat on tijara, is it by the value of what it's selling for or what it's worth on the market? I believe it's what it's worth on the market, right? Can you look that up, Ryan?
That's what you're gonna get.
Ahmed Ali's in the house.
Ahmed Ali? كيف حالك? Question for you. Take Amrusi. Where's Amrusi? Is Amrusi here? Can you find out for us the zakah on inventory? Is it calculated on what you bought it for, or what you're selling it for, or what it's worth? That's a very good question. You have it? What do you have in your hands? Sharh Saghir. Why is it only so small?
No, it's
Just the volume. Okay. Could you look it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Ahmed Ali will look it up. Okay.
So it wouldn't apply to like a house that you have as like a proper, like
No.
one house.
No.
You get rent from it.
That's going to be the next subject. So you see now what is the zakah of the mudir? That's how it works. Inventory, value of the inventory, minus all your expenses, your debts, over 40. And you do that, again, you're the store owner. You pick a year from the date that you opened up, right? You pick the date. You have to have that, and it doesn't matter whether you've had it for a year at this point. Like, you have to have run your store for a year, but you're not going to say, oh, we've had this rubber ball here for a year. No, forget this year thing. It's what you have every year at that moment. Now let's go to the other type of businessman. This one's called Al-Muhtakir. This type of businessman is called Al-Muhtakir. The Muhtakir, he buys something that he believes will have value in the future, and he sits on it, and he stops thinking. He doesn't even think about it. That person, let's say, buys a tech stock, put it on the side. Don't even think about it. Okay? Years later, it may have value. Or this person buys, let's say, for example, a website that he think that in the future this thing is going to have demand. The name will have demand, right? In the future. Who knows? Like probably all these AI, cool AI, neat AI, picture AI, all these AIs, probably people bought these websites last year, 2 years ago when AI went crazy, and they're sitting on it waiting for the day that someone's going to buy it. Okay? The Muhtakir, because he's holding this item on his books, he doesn't pay zakat on it. He pays zakat on it the day he sells it, as long as a year passed. So that means, for example, most people will save up their money and then buy themselves a condo. And then they'll rent out that condo for a few years. And when they get tired of that condo and say, we need the cash, we'll do something else with our money, we'll sell the condo. So you sold the condo for 300K. On that day that you make the sale, you owe zakat on it. One time. Okay? So stock is the same thing, right? If you're always buying and selling stocks, you watch the news, all right, get rid of this, buy this, get rid of this, buy this, right? Every few months, you've got a whole new set of stocks, right? And even if you've had something for years, but you would sell it if the market dictated, you are a mudir. But if you have stocks and you're just sitting on them and letting them grow, you are a muhtakir. You only sell them, okay, when you only pay zakah the day you sell it, 2.5% on it. Let's take a look at another kind of business that has no item to it, no product to it, and that is the service business. Service business, this guy has, he's got no product. He just does a service. He's a painter or whatever. That kind of company is just treated like wealth, right? So you just pay that zakah with the zakah of your income. And you do the same thing. You see what debts do the company owe? The company has, let's say the company has $500,000 in the bank, and we have $20,000 every month of salary, $20,000 payment of this, $10,000 of insurance every month. We have to pay that, subtract all that, and then pay your zakat on that. Now, what happens if I own 20% of the company? So calculate the whole zakat of the company, subtract all the debts, divided by 40. That's the zakatable amount that the company owns. You owe 20%, and all your friends owe 20%. All right, so I pay my 20%. I pay 20% of that. You pay 20. Your fifth. You pay we fifth. You pay your fifth. Okay. So here's a question about the 401. The 401k is like ihtikar. You're sitting on the stock. The day you cash out, you pay zakah. You're just sitting on it. Okay. The day you cash out, you pay zakah. People who are in unique cars, right? They'll buy like a 1986 Porsche. Puts it in his garage. That's it. Fix it up here and there. There is going to come a day when someone's interested, right? Now, you're not selling it right away. You're not a car dealer. But you got it there. Someday, someone will be interested in it. The day you sell it, you pay zakat on it. So that's how you handle al-ihtikar. The muhtakir is the one who buys something with no intent of immediately selling it. He pays zakat the day he sells it. Okay? But the one who is constant inventory, nonstop, every year he picks the day that he's chose to pay his zakah, and he gets the inventory minus debts, and he sells it. Okay. Likewise, the muhtakir will subtract his debts too, right? So I sold the car, but also I had to pay the agent, I had to pay the sales rep, I had to pay the lawyer, I had to pay all that, subtract all that.
What about the cost of fixing up the car as well? Is that part of it?
No, that's not part of it. Okay. Mawlid man, that's correct. That is correct. You pay the zakah the day you sell it. Okay. Mafhum? So we talked about the service industry now. The service industry. I have no products, right? I go in, I work with my hands or I work with my mind or I code for somebody. It's my own business. So that at that point, you're not trading any items. Therefore, your wealth, whatever is in the business, is just wealth. Zakat-ul-Aien is upon that. Okay? All right, let's ask another question. An orphan has inherited money. That money is just sitting in his bank account. Is it zakatable? Yes, it is. The khitab, the word khitab means the address. When we say in Islamic law, the word khitab means the address of Allah, the command and the prohibition of Allah. The khitab of zakah is not on the person, it's on the money. You know that? And the owner of the money is responsible. For Maliki, yeah. How about for you? Who's the khitab for?
It's on the person.
It's on the person. So for example, why do we say that? If a insane person, let's say, is in a hospital, but they inherited from their father, they inherited $500,000. And that's paying his hospital fees, right? But it's sitting in the bank. In Shafi'i fiqh, does he pay zakat on it or not? Huh?
I didn't
Check. Okay.
What's the
A person who's insane. So the Sharia does not address anything to him, right?
What I understand from a kid is the wali of the kid has to make the intention for him. That's what the difference is.
That's the difference. Okay. So the in the Sharia, a person could be a child or insane, and if he has money, it's zakatable money. His guardian has to pay for him.
In the Hanafi school is not like that.
What is it in Hanafi school?
So there's 7 conditions. So there's 5, and then the extra 2 where someone who's insane and who's not baligh can't give zakat.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, Ajib. It's always a curveball coming from the Wara and Nahr, man. Always a curveball coming from Wara and Nahr. You never underestimate what's going on behind that river, right? What was happening behind that river, right? Why is everything so different? Okay. So if you don't know why we're saying behind that river, YouTube, don't cancel us. It has nothing to do with the Jordan River. It's the Euphrates River, because the Wara and Nahr seemed to, for the Arabs in their minds, that was like a whole nother territory. And that's where the Hanafi school, it flourished, right? In Wara and Nahr. But also there was Hanafis, of course, in Baghdad and Kufa. So no doubt about that. That's in front of the Nahr. But min Wara and Nahr, that is an expression that revolves to, or refers to, what do they call it? Transoxania, which is you're hitting to Persia, Afghanistan, Central Asia, and all those places where they were Hanafis. Okay. And there were Shafis there too. Persia was Shafi. And there were Hanafis from in front of the river too, which is Baghdad and Kufa. So that was just a joke about the reference of min wara and nahr. Okay. So No, seriously, you start out, you raised up in a Maliki or Shafi'i fiqh, and you see a Hanafi ruling, and you start wondering what was going on behind the river, man. Something was going on behind that river. Okay. But mashallah, they always have evidence. Never underestimate a madhab and say, how did they get that? Don't ask such a silly question. They know what they're doing. They've been around for 1,000 years, right? They've been looking at evidence, and they've been debating other madhabs for 1,000 years. You think they don't have evidence? It's so naive when people say, subhanAllah, when people say this. When people say, oh, where are they getting this stuff? Where are you getting your ignorance? Because you're so abundant in it, right? When people talk like that. They've been around for 1,000 years debating each other. They have evidence. SubhanAllah. Someone was just asking, where's the evidence that zakat can only be given locally? Let's turn to this subject now. Masarif az-zakah. Where can zakah be given? Zakah is given in 8 categories. The poor who don't have enough sustenance for a year, and the poor who don't have enough sustenance for a day. Okay? The two levels of poor. Because we elevate the one who has no food over the one who is, has no security for a year. But what's the proof for how that the Sharia and the 4 madhabs say the zakah should be given in your locality? If you live in the Brunswick area, you give your zakah here. If you live in Algeria, you give your zakah in Algeria. Okay? It's not going to be invalid if you give it to Palestine, but it should be given in your locality. The proof is, the textual proof of the Sharia is the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he sent Mu'adh bin Jabal to Yemen, he said to him, command them and tell them that they have to pay zakah, to be taken from their rich and given to their poor. Look at one of the reasons for the Sharia behind this. You share a mosque with these people. You share a home, you share a town with these people. They see you driving around. They see you pulling up into the masjid with your beautiful cars, and they see your kids coming out with their polished faces and their pressed clothes. And meanwhile, their kid is coming out not looking as polished as you, looking at the other kid. You yourself compare your car to his car without, whether you realize it or not, you know it in the back of your mind. So if you go on living like that, and none of that goodness that Allah gave you trickles down to me, I can start having envy towards you. It guarantee will happen. The poor will hate the rich. Guaranteed. Okay? What did Marxism come out of? Envy for the rich. Zakah is basically saying, no. Oh, rich person, I gave you all this money, and it's not all for you. Allah is telling you, this is my money. In Sharia, in Islam, how do we view money? It's all Allah's that He gave you to use. Proof, right? Min malillahi alladhi atakum. Okay? The whole verse. What's the whole verse? Min malillahi alladhi atakum. وَآتُوهُمْ مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ الَّذِي آتَاكُمْ. Give them from Allah's wealth that He gave you. So who's the owner of money? Allah is the owner of money. Let's take it rationally. Who is the owner of wealth? Just rationally speaking, what is wealth? Isn't it all based on gold? Who made the gold? Did you make the gold? All wealth, it goes back to gold, right? And silver. Who made the gold and silver? This dollar that you hold used to be backed by gold and silver. So its origin is that it's symbol of an amount of gold. Who made the gold on this earth? Now, you found it. You traded for it, but you didn't make it. So the ultimate owner of all wealth is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, in our Sharia, in Islam, He has the right to tell you what to do with your money. And He's telling you 1/40 of your savings is not yours. It's for the poor. So that money trickles down to the fuqara, to the poor people. And from that, the envy leaves their heart. The hatred leaves their heart. In fact, every year, love enters their heart. Even the regular person, he's not going to tell you what the communists say, that we should all be equal. A regular poor guy lives relatively. Happiness is always relative. He's not going to come say, I need to be like Elon Musk. I need to be as rich as a neurosurgeon. No, just give me a little bit, right? And I'll be happy. Everyone is happy by incrementally going up a little bit. So if I come and I find in the mail every year, I got a $5,000 check in the mail from the masjid, right? And I look around, I know that's your guys' zakah. I love these people now, right? They changed, I think, probably 2 months of my life, right? They made me worry-free for 2 months of my life. That's the whole purpose. So now, the envy, the hatred, the jealousy, it just deflates. Every year you deflate it. Now, if you take your zakah and say, hold on, they're suffering in Kashmir, they're suffering in Syria, of course, that's true. That is for sadaqah. Sadaqah. Extra charity. But the obligatory charity has got to your poor people who you rub shoulders with in the masjid. Who see you, who see your nice clothes, who see your polished family and all that, and your nice homes. Okay? Because they see that, they deserve some of your money. It's not your money. It's Allah's money. Yes.
Would that also apply to like fidya and kafara?
Fidya and kafara, all those obligatory monies, is the masraf of it? I can't say exactly. Let's see if... Oh, Omar al-Hashimi is here, mashallah. Barakallahu feek.
We have a dalil for why Shafi say that the money of the insane person or child has to be given by his wali. And if it's not given, then if it hit the shurut in the time that they were a kid or insane and they don't have a wali to give it for them, then they have to give it later on.
What is the evidence?
The evidence. Evidence. دليل وجوب الزكاة في مال الصبي والمجنون. أولا قول الله تعالى خذ من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها. توبة. قال سورة التوبة. قوله تعالى والذين في أموالهم حق معلوم للسائل والمحروم. قد دلت الآيات على أن الله تعالى ملك عباده المال وجعل فيه حقا لمن حرم منه ومن حرم منه وأمر نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يأخذ هذا الحق من المال في وقته ليكون طهر له حفظا أو تحسينا ولم يفرق الله عز وجل بين مالك وآخر كما أنه سبحانه لم يختص مالا دون مال. I didn't fully understand that. It might take more reading to put that to someone in mind.
One of the probably the proof of that the address of the Sharia of Allah is on the money is وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ, in their wealth. But in any event, it's going to be the same result at the end. Zakah must be given, right? Even if it's a child who inherits. That's why Umar ibn Khattab said, invest it. Otherwise, in the coming years to come, let's say a boy is 2 years old and he inherited from his dad, because let's say the dad died, right? And a boy's 2 years old. It happens all the time. So by the time he becomes capable of dealing with his wealth, let's say they're going to release the money to him at the age of 25. That's 23 years of zakah. It will slowly eat away at it, right? So Umar ibn Khattab said, invest the money. Put it in an investment. Make it a house that will earn rent. Then when the kid grows up, he could decide to sell the house or not. That's the right way to do things. Okay, James Martin is here, says, greetings from Sarasota, Florida, where we met. Yes, I remember that, mashallah. Okay. Is it true that the fast in Ramadan, says Minna AJ, is not accepted by Allah if one does not pray the obligatory salah? The fast is accepted, meaning you won't have to make it up, but how will you get reward when you obey and disobey? So there's a big difference between validity and reward. We have to keep that in mind. An act can be valid because you did all the outward requirements of the act. That doesn't mean you got the reward of it. For example, I can in fact be sinful too. I can do my full prayer and leave with sins, but my salah is valid. Like what? Imagine you walk into a room and you start praying. Then suddenly by accident the cat hits the TV and the TV turns on. Now the entire prayer, you prayed it properly with your body, but your eyes was on the TV, your ears were on the TV. And you're like following what's happening on the TV intentionally, not unintentionally. So you physically did everything required. Nobody could say that your prayer is invalid. But between you and Allah, you know that you were paying attention to the TV the whole time. So you may actually walk away from that valid prayer with more sins. So there is a concept called sinful but valid. Same thing with this sister is asking here. A person fasts, but they don't pray. This is a confused person who needs help. Okay? Because it's much easier to pray than to fast. You are confused. And I'll tell you the solution to this person. This person probably does not like to make wudu. Most people who don't pray, they don't like to make wudu. That's the obstacle between prayer is wudu. If you ask people why they delay salah, because they don't want to make wudu. It's really the issue. So the solution to this person, in Morocco, there was a sheikh who came upon a whole village of Muslims who had just recently, one generation, been Muslims after having been Amazigh pagan religion. One generation they've been Muslims. But in that generation, they stopped praying. They had a mosque, but they stopped praying. So Sheikh started bringing them all into the mosque. When he saw them coming in the mosque, when his colleague came up to visit him, he said, "I can't believe you got this village to start praying again." He said, "Yeah, come and see my work." He said, "Yeah, they're all praying now." He saw them coming in with their boots on, no signs of wudu on them at all, men and women mingled and praying. Right? He would lead the prayer. Right? The men and women would be there, not next to each other, of course, right? But like too close for the appropriate of the Sharia. And wearing their boots and no marks of wudu. And they're praying, right? So he said, "Oh, this is a farce. You're making a farce of the religion now. Whole people praying without wudu?" He said, "Listen, I brought them into the masjid, okay? And I got them used to this. Now you come and give the lecture on the requirement of wudu," right? Because he's thinking practically. What battle are you going to fight? 3 battles at one time? Take your shoes off, make wudu, segregate your genders, and pray. Let's be practical. There is one thing about fiqh. There's theory. We all know that. Let's look at how you actually deal with human beings. Do you fight 4 battles at once? Do you make 4 requests at once? Right? With these people. Well, what are you going to request from them? Are you going to request from them, make wudu but don't pray? So he made the judgment call that I'm going to fight 1 battle at a time. And Ahmed Hashmi, don't worry, you can answer questions anytime, no problem. Please do answer questions because I can't get all the questions. So Ahmed Hashmi has been assigned as an official answer to questions, by the way. That's official. Okay, because if people have knowledge, they can answer the question. But we got to know you first. And I know Ahmed, alhamdulillah, we talked. And he has knowledge and he studies in Turkey. I can't get to all the questions all the time. Okay. Omar is an official answer of questions. Ryan is an official answer of questions. Uthman is official answer of questions. And so on.
I just forfeited my official answer.
Why?
I don't want it.
Okay. So he made the judgment call, I'm going to fight 1 battle at a time. Okay? And I'm going to take them to the thing that is most fruitful, which is dua. At least their salah is not valid, we know that. But at least they're making dua and dhikr and tasbih. That was his logic. He's not saying there's a new sharia and they don't have to make wudu. But he's saying, you tell me how you're going to do this. Are you going to try to sell them all 4 items at once, or you just sell them 1 item at a time? So that was his ijtihad on that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way to go about it, but that's how he went about it. Long story short, within that lifetime, that whole community was back to being regular Muslims. But it happened by the wisdom of these people to do it by patchwork, right? All right, they pray, but they don't make wudu. All right, teach them how to make wudu. Next thing, you guys can't walk with your boots in the mosque like this, right? Who knows what you've been stepping on? Okay, could be dog urine, which is najis. Cat urine is najis. Cow urine, not najis. But it's not clean though, right? It's not appropriate for the masjid. So slowly, very little by little by little by little, to get them to the ultimate end of mimicking the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the way of the scholars.
It's like that little boy too who comes in and prays with you guys.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, you need to pray. You need to make wudu.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Actually, you need to take a ghusl.
Exactly. Actually, you need to know your aqeedah from top to bottom before you even do ibadat.
Yeah.
It's not going to work like that, right? Okay. Insurance. What kind of insurance are permissible? There's no current insurance company that's permissible for us to hold stock in. There is a concept of Islamic insurance, and it works as follows. Islamic insurance works as follows. If Americans knew about it, they'd all sign up for it. We all pitch in money into this organization. Immediately subtracted from our investment is the full-time administrators who take care of the money. That's fair game, right? An investor then takes that money and invests it. Part of this organization is we gift you your health bills. That's a gift. Okay? We go make a ton of money. If you get sick by being part of this association, we take care of you. Okay? Now, when you leave, when you choose to leave, you take from it the money that you've earned minus the costs of the health, right? So, and if you come out negative, nothing against you. We don't charge you more. So that means, let's say I put in $500 a month, and he goes and he invests the money over years. And I've had this insurance, let's say, for 10 years. And when I needed to get a tooth out, they paid for it. When I needed to get an appendix out, they paid for it. When I had a baby, they paid for it. All that stuff. And then at the end of the 10 years, they do all the calculations, minus administrative costs, the investment, you gained a lot of money in the investment, but then the medical costs were equal. You come out, you got it nothing, right? Or the opposite guy, he was healthy. Nothing bad happened to him. He never had to go to the doctor. He gets his investment minus administrative costs, and he gets his money back, right? The investment back. That's it. Now, let me tell you something else that's not valid either. Some people think that this is okay. I'm going to make an investment, right? And I'm going to get back my principal and a little bit of the profits. No. You get profits or nothing, right? You can't have it both ways. So a loan is when I give you 500 and I get back 500. I don't do an investment where I give you 500. You definitely have to give me back 500 and whatever money you made. No. When you stand to earn, you stand to lose. Otherwise, that's riba at that point.
We learned a really good, super general principle.
Yeah.
Which is كل قرض جرى عليه منفعة فهو ربا.
That's the principle. كل قرض جرى معه أو له, whatever the harf they use, منفعة فهو ربا. Okay. كل قرض جرى منفعة, that brought back with it a benefit. A qard is a loan that brings a benefit. That's riba. So here you're treating my principle like a loan, as if you're definitely going to get it back. No, and on top of that, you might make some money. No, you don't get it back like that.
Even if it wasn't money too. Like if,
if it's not money,
we're going to give you this exposure because you paid.
Exactly. Any benefit, by the way. I give you a loan. All right, listen, you give me a loan. I'm going to give you a little perk, as long as it's in the contract. If it's not in the contract, then no. So let's say you gave me a loan. I'm so thankful to you that I pay you back. Later on, I think, you know what? I like this guy. He gave me a loan. Let me give him a little benefit here. It's not in the contract. It's just personal. That's fine. But if it's in the contract, not accepted. Okay? Then that's a riba.
It's a kabira.
Huh?
It's a kabira, right? Like it's a major sin.
Oh, it's a kabira. It's a kabira for sure. Such a loan, that's not acceptable to have, and it's a major sin. Speak.
So if let's say Ryan gave you a loan of like $1 million.
Yeah.
And then in the contract it says you shall not
In the contract, yeah.
Yeah.
A loan with a benefit. Yeah. Shout on the Instagram if he likes you. Right? Separate. And I'll tell you what else can be. So it's a sunnah, in fact, when you repay a loan to add to it a gift. But it's not in the contract. So you lent me $2,000, I give you back the $2,000 with edible arrangements on top. A little $50 basket of some chocolate-covered fruits. Right? Those are good. Who here right now would take one of those edible arrangements, the pineapple covered in chocolate? Right? I would take all 12 right now. You know, the boxes.
Food talk is a trigger right away.
Yeah, right away, man.
Triggered.
Right away. That edible arrangements, the pineapple covered chocolate chilled in the fridge is the best product they have ever had. Nothing comes close. Edible arrangements. Is bingo haram since it's by chance? If it's for money, it's definitely haram. If it's not for money, it's between haram or makruh. And I liked, having learned from Ibn Abi Zayd, he forbids all those things. It's forbidden. Why? Because it makes you sort of addicted to games of chance. And one day you may play it for money. Right? And at the least, it's a waste of time. It's literally pure chance. Yeah.
Question. I know social media, we stay on social media during Ramadan, right?
I mean, it's preferable to, because you see a lot of haram things, and really it's a shame, to be honest with you. It's preferable to stay off of things that could pop up in front of your eyes that could be sinful, or at least it wastes your time.
What if like you go to like do watch, because sometimes
Yeah, you can do that. That's good. There is a way to benefit from social media just by Islamic, pages and stuff. Yeah. Rent to own is halal. The rent to own schemes to buy homes is permissible. Brothers asking for end time videos. Yeah, we'll make end time videos. We don't need end time videos. Look at the news. It's all end times right there. Just look at what's happening on online. Look at how people are behaving. It's end times right there.
Habib Ali, Abu Bakr Mashhur,
Yeah.
right? Al-Adani, he has some interesting stuff on this. Fiqh al-Tahawulat.
This is his specialty. Sheikh Abu Bakr al-Adani. Yeah.
It would be nice if someone translated
Yeah.
it. It's probably in English too.
Yeah.
Videos.
All right, we're wrapping up here because we had a late start. We're going to wrap up. And is it permissible for women to bow down in sujood out of gratitude to Allah while in haid? The answer is no. Any act of salah that is done. Oh, you can give me the Shafi for that. But what I know, firstly, we don't have in Maliki Fiq, we don't have sujood al-shukr. We have 2 rakas. There's no such thing as just sujood. We don't have that in Maliki Fiqh. But any time that you do prostration, such as if you're listening to Quran, and there are verses in the Quran, if you're intentionally listening to them by a human being who's reciting them, and that human being could be an imam, so not a computer. A computer can't lead the prayer. Not a child can't lead the prayer. Any person not a woman can't lead the prayer. Any person who is capable of leading the prayer, and you are intentionally reciting, and he recites one of these verses of the Quran in which there is this prostration, and you have wudu, then you prostrate. If you don't have wudu, you don't prostrate. Okay? If you weren't listening intentionally, you don't prostrate. If the bazaar next to you, the guy is listening to the Quran in the stall next to you, and you're not listening to it, but you hear it, you're not responsible for it. This is called Sujood al-Quran, or Sajdat at-Tilawa, and they differ on the numbers. In the Maliki school, it's 11. In the Hanafi school, it's Oogs. Maybe Omar Hashmi is here. Can you tell us? Okay. Sujood al-Quran is how many in Shafi Fiqh? 15 or 16? 15. Sujood al-Tilawa.
I'm not sure.
15 or 16. In the Maliki school, from Hujurat onwards, they're mansukh. Mansukh means it used to be a practice, but the Prophet stopped doing it. That's the meaning of mansukh. Okay?
I can look it up for you.
Say again.
I can look it up for you.
Read me that. What does that say? Hanafi is the same position that is impermissible to perform sajda of gratitude. See that? For a menstruating woman. She doesn't perform.
Same here.
Huh?
Same here.
Same in Shafi. Okay. So Maliki Fiq doesn't have sajdas of gratitude at all. We have 2 rakas. People are wondering what we're saying. Sajda of gratitude means something, you got good news, immediately you go down into prostration. Without salah or anything, just a prostration. You know in England what they call it? Kiss the pitch.
Yeah.
Because the soccer player scores and he does sujood for that. All right? At least he's doing sujood. That's maybe the one time.
It says here,
He's doing sujood.
it is sunnah to perform the prostration of gratitude when a blessing strikes, a curse strikes, when the blessing and curse are specific to it, or it applies to Muslims. And
Okay.
to see a sinner who is open about his immorality, and he prostrates in gratitude to God for his recovery. Yeah.
So Shafi'i fiqh, it's a sunnah to do this.
Yeah.
Maliki fiqh, we say pray 2 rakas. No sujood shukr. Uga?
In the Secret Guidance, Sheikh W. Ahmed says it's 14 for Hanafi fiqh
14 sujood
for the Quran.
tilawa in Hanafi school, 11 in Maliki school. I think it's 15 in Shafi'i school. And Surah Al-Hajj has 2, and the madhabs differ upon that. Please answer this question. What's the proper adab on giving advice to someone close to you? You give them the advice without sounding that you know better than them. That's the adab. Can tell me if you can combine travelers' prayers. Which madhab are you asking? Okay. Haknai asks, is insurance on collectibles and other rare items permissible? No. Because it's not a darura or a haja. And we are allowed to take insurance when the state obligates it upon us, or when the costs are would basically impoverish somebody. For example, if a childbirth can cost you $30,000 from beginning to end, like who has that, right? Not a lot of people have that. Some medicines cost a person $3,000 a month for some medicines, so that'll put you out in the street. In the Sharia, if you're going to be put out in the street, if your life will be altered, then the haram becomes halal. But if your life would just be inconvenienced, then no, the haram doesn't become halal. And if your life would be made better, of course, then definitely the haram would not be made halal. The haram is made halal for us. Haram, the forbidden, becomes lawful when your life would be altered, let alone ruined, dead, unalived.
15 sujood sahwi. Or sujood today.
You have 15 sujood tilawa and Shafi'i fiqh. Amiksa says, why are the 4 schools in many aspects vary to opposite ends? Like Maliki doesn't consider dog najas, dog saliva najas, while the other schools consider it to such an extent that dogs shouldn't even be bought or sold. Okay, you're mixing a couple things here, Amiksa. Dogs should not be bought or sold, okay, when it's a wild dog. Because that dog out in the desert, the wild dog, is not a service or anything. Okay, it's not something that you can possess. It's wild out there. That's why you can't be bought and sold. Now, I believe that that's different if it's a functional dog. Like a functional dog, a shepherd dog. I think the rule is different for that reason. Question?
Right, it has to like be trained or like.
Yeah, trained shepherd dog or trained dog for the blind. So I think even that, I think they discourage the buying and selling of that. I have to look that up. But point being, buying and selling dogs, the prohibition on buying and selling dogs is a separate issue from the ruling on the saliva of the dog. The ruling on the saliva, it has nothing to do with the saliva. The ruling on the saliva of the dog divides into two different opinions. The first opinion is that it's najis. Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, if a dog licks your bowl, drinks from your drinking bowl, you have a bowl of water, a dog drinks from it, wash that bowl 7 times, 1 time with dirt. In other words, with something coarse, something rough. The Malikis, the Shafi'is, and the Hanbalis said, therefore, dog saliva is najis. Now, the Maliki school said, no, this has nothing to do with najasa. Najasa means ritual impurity. You can't pray with this stuff on you. That's what the word najis means. And the Maliki said, no, it has nothing to do with that, because if it was najis, the Prophet would have said, wash it once, like every other najis thing. And secondly, purification from najasa has to do with prayer. Nobody prays holding a bowl, right? You don't pray on your bowl. So the bowl hadith of the dog who eats from your bowl has nothing to do with purity. It has only to do with hygiene. Like, this is not hygienic. You can get sick from eating dog saliva. Okay? So wash it 7 times, once with dirt, in their view, means very thoroughly with something rough, because the dog saliva sticks. Dirt means something rough. So that means if I saw a dog eat from my bowl, am I going to go put it in the washing machine? Then take it out of the washing machine. Then put it back in the dishwasher. Then put it for another cycle? No. Just 1 time with the sponge, hard, right? With soap or some other thing and water is enough. 7 times once with dirt is an expression that means very thoroughly with something rough. Okay? And buying and selling a dog has nothing to do with that. The najasa is a separate issue. The third issue is not having a dog in your home. Angels will not enter into your home if there's a dog in your home, because angels, they don't like dogs. That's it. There is no logic behind that. It's just the way angels are created. You will not enter a room that has mice in it, that has a rat in it, right? Here, sleep in the guest room. Only problem, there's rats. Would you sleep in there? No. All right, go into this house. It's infested with cockroaches, but that's okay. No. Go into this house, it has snakes in it. We are harmed. We could be harmed purely emotionally. Disgust is an emotion, right? Certain animals, they can't harm you, but you're disgusted by them. So angels are likewise, they are put off by dogs. These are all separate issues. There's another 4th issue with the dog. Someone who plays with a dog, just playing with a dog for no reason, just playing with a dog, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, it has a cost. It will cost you a hill of your good deeds. Because the Prophet, peace be upon him, is warning us. You will love the dog so much you become addicted to your dog, and you will waste time with your dog. Now, can I play with my dog if I happen to be a shepherd and it's just me, him, and the sheep? Right? I had nothing to do. So I throw the ball, he goes and gets it. Because there's no harm in the sense that the shepherd's not doing anything. The sheep are not in harm. And the dog has nothing to do. That inshallah is not a problem. The little thing here and there, 1 time here and there, by the shepherd, because his dog serves him well, and he can love him, he can hug him, all that stuff, scratch him, whatever, feed him from his food, no problem. But to play with him for no reason, the Prophet warned against that, because it would lead to excess, right? All of these are separate issues. Let's bring another issue too. The praise of the dog in Surah Al-Kahf. Allah says, they say that there are 3 and the 4th is a dog, or 5 and the 6th is the dog, or 7 and the 8th is a dog. All of the ulama say, look at the honor that Allah put of suhbah. Suhbah in general. If Allah honored the animal by insisting to mention him, by mentioning him alongside with the righteous people, what about if you were actually a human? Then you'd get a share of their goodness just by being with them. That's how important it is to be with good people. Even if you're not even a human, you benefit. Imagine if you're a sinful human and you're with righteous people, you benefit. He also said, it also is a specific praise for the genus of the guard dog, the shepherd and the guard dog. Because a shepherd and the guard dog is the reason why people would pass by and say, oh, don't wake them up, don't mess around. There's one of those shepherd dogs. They're crazy. Okay? They're going to come after you. So Allah chose the guard dog, and it's a khususiyah for the guard dog. This is a special creature. And if you've ever seen guard dogs at work, it's amazing. I recently saw a video where a farmer, you know that these farmers, it's a thing now, farmers will put their whole farming life online, right? So this guy caught on the night cam a fox passing through the sheep area at night. And then all the dogs, he had four dogs, they all woke up, they herded all the sheep into the pen, closed the door with their nose, and then remained awake on all four corners of the thing for the rest of the night. Is this not an amazing creation? And that's what he's made for. That is what the dog is made for. He's not made for you to come sleep on your bed with you, as the American, as people do, right? Come sleep on the bed with us, lick our face, eat ice cream with us. That's not what he's made for, right? Okay? He will destroy any suburban lawn by urinating everywhere, right? He's made for the farm and the mountain, right? That's what the dog is made for, okay? So all of these questions, they're all separate issues with the dog. The purpose of the dog, the value of the dog, the benefits of the dog, the saliva of the dog, the owner, the pet, dog has a pet, and then what was the other question? Buying and selling of the dog. All separate issues. All right?
I heard that somebody called Imam Suyuti a dog, and then he wrote a book about like the
فضل الكلاب على كثير ممن يلبس الثياب. Someone called Imam Suyuti a dog, and Imam Suyuti therefore wrote a book, The Benefits of Dogs over many people who wear clothes. Right? And it rhymes. فضل الكلاب على كثير ممن يلبس الثياب. All the virtues of dogs. And mainly it's going to be the guard dog that they talk about. Unfortunately, folks, I love sitting here with everybody, but we got to run. And inshallah, tonight we have the prophetic iftar in the masjid with bread, honey, yogurt, dates, cucumbers, olive oil,
nice.
Maybe some cheese, maybe? I don't know about that. But no lamb. Okay. Are we allowed to enter the bathroom with a ring that has a lot written on it? You would turn the ring inwardly and close your hand. Turn the ring inside and close your hand. Or take it off and put it in your pocket. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله